So here we are, Wednesday, March 4th, 2015. And the spaghetti monster is gonna be laughing at me yet again. Oh, spaghetti monster. So I've been telling you guys about how the weather has been lately, where it has just been like cold and nasty in a truly just not normal way for Maryland. Maryland is one of those places, or at least Baltimore area, you know, we get 3 inches of snow on the ground in the morning and it's gone by 2 o'clock. Like literally, if you want to take the corgis out, if you want to take the dogs out and play in the snow, you gotta do it while the snow is still falling, because frankly, it will be melted in a few hours if you don't. And yet, we still have snow on the ground. Weeks, almost months of snow, you know, in the past. So we are in March now. So since January, there's almost been snow on the ground every day since January, which is just, I can't even explain to you how abnormal that is. So today got up to like 45 degrees. Oh, it feels nice out there. It feels balmy. It's like you want to go out there in a t-shirt, right? And right now, so it's like, okay, well, this is great. It's getting up to 45 degrees. It's getting into be March weather. You know, that's awesome, right? And so the rain has moved in, and apparently now I've been looking at the weather reports, and the temperature is going to drop tonight, and we are going to be getting anywhere between 6 to 10 inches of snow tonight. I don't even know what the hell is going on with the weather anymore. It's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're like, what the hell? So anyway, so that's what's going on with the weather situation now. Tonto seems to be doing better and better every day. So Tonto is now pretty much eating food again, and trying to get him out, trying to get him get a little bit of exercise now, taking him on small little walks. I'd like to take him on longer walks, just to kind of work out that ACL injury, but it's so cold, and the vet said really that you don't want to move him a lot until we get to like warm weather. He was like that the ACL injury will feel a lot better when it's warmer outside. So, you know, 45 being the high, this isn't exactly really warm weather for him. But, you know, he's trucking along. So right now, as it stands, we are what, March 4th? We're leaving March 16th, so we got about a week and a half. So unless something really strange happens, it does appear that Tonto will be coming with us on the trip. So that is a good thing. Other than that, it's trucking along. I got rid of a lot of stuff today. I was very happy to offload a huge amount of technology stuff to the Baltimore Robotics Center. As you guys know, as you guys may or may not know, the Baltimore Robotics Center is kind of like my pet, I don't know, my pet non-profit, I suppose you could say. I was like one of the first people to invest some money into them, give some money to them a couple of years ago, and now whenever I have any extra technology stuff, I always give it to them. So since we're going to be leaving the big house, and basically we don't really plan to come back to the big house, I mean, one way or another, like whether we sell the house this year or next year or 2 years from now, we don't really plan to come back here to really live. So I decided to finally get rid of all the extra computer stuff that I just don't need anymore. Because it's surprising how much computer stuff that you build up and you realize that you don't need. Like I had, 48 port gig Cisco switches, or I had a 48 port gig Cisco switch and like a 24 port 100 switch. That's basically been collecting dust for years. Like, I have meant to create classes based on them, and I've been meaning to make classes based on them for years, and then you realize, you know what, they're just sitting there collecting dust. I have a Chrome box, you know, one of the Google Chrome boxes, again, been collecting dust. I did like one class on it, wasn't really interesting enough to do any more classes, so that's gone. The Google Glass, so you know, the $1,500 Google Glass I used all of about 5 times. That is truly just a piece of garbage, a piece of equipment, so that's gone. I gave that to them. Monitors and computers and all kinds of stuff. I just gave them whole piles of stuff, because it is that weird thing where, you know, you buy this stuff and it's expensive when you initially buy it, and so you keep it because it was initially expensive. But it doesn't mean you actually have any use for it, nor does it mean you will ever have any use for it. Like I had Polycom IP phones. It cost me $300 a piece years ago. I'm never gonna need 9 Polycom IP phones again, SIP IP phones. They're just sitting there collecting dust. And so it's good. Like, I feel like by giving all of this stuff off to the robotics center, that will get it into these kids' hands that will actually be able to go, and they will play with it, and they will love it, and they will cherish it, and they will beat the hell out of it, and it will get truly destroyed the way technology should get destroyed. I mean, technology should not gather dust. It's just my inherent belief as a geek that technology should not fade away, right? You know, that technology should get used and brutalized until it breaks apart from just people doing whatever it is they need to do to it to make it, you know, do whatever it is they need to do. That's how technology should die. Technology should die from just when there's not a single breath left in it. It should not just sit there collecting dust. So all that stuff was given off to them. Again, there's the idea, like people would say, well, Eli, you can put it onto eBay or whatever and get some money. But realistically, a lot of that is a bit of a pain in the ass. I mean, you know, there's this idea of like, well, I could sell it. And you're like, yeah. The other thing that comes into this, though, and it's one of those things that a lot of people don't realize how significant that is for a lot of people in the world that's been successful, is the whole concept of paying it forward. So there was a movie called Pay It Forward. Oh, it can't be that long ago. It must have been a long time ago, though, right? Pay It Forward, was that 12 years ago? Like 2001, 2002? Basically, there's this idea with this movie called Pay It Forward, where the idea is if somebody does something nice for you, you don't pay them back for the niceness. The idea is if somebody does something nice for you, you then do something nice for somebody completely different. So instead of paying it back, you then pay it forward. And something a lot of people don't realize about folks that have been successful in the world is that the only way any of us become successful is through the generosity of other people. My career, you know, I can sit here and I can thump my chest about how cool I am, and I'm cool in a lot of ways, but the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, the only reason I am where I am in the world is because of the generosity of others. From everywhere, everything from people patching me up when I got beat half to death in Thailand, to other things when I was adventuring and people helped me out, to being given computer equipment way back in the day. So just as I am giving computer equipment to the Baltimore Robotics Center now, I was given computer equipment way back in the day. Back when I was first getting my MCSE and I was working with Windows 2000, you know, one of the companies that I worked for, I was talking about needing lab computers, and they literally gave me like 10 or 20 of these laptops. They're these gray Toshiba satellite laptops, and they just had these laptops there. And again, it was kind of the same thing. Like the laptops were valuable to a degree, but they were the previous generation laptop. So if you go back to 2000, you go back to about 14 years ago, right? We did refresh cycles every 3 years on computers because you had to, right? If you had a 3-year-old computer, it really was an old computer. It really was a dog. It really couldn't do a lot of things you wanted to do. So you had a 2 to 3 year refresh cycle for all your computers to make sure your employees could in fact do their job, right? I mean, it really was. Like year to year, the improvement on computers was massive. So they had all these laptops from the previous generation of computers, or the laptops, and so I was talking about a lab, and they were like, well, why don't you just take these? I was like, excuse me? They're like, well, again, they're just sitting here collecting dust. We really don't know what the hell to do with them, so here you go. And they just, imagine, you know, again, being like 23, 24 years old, and somebody plops, I mean, I forget, at this point, I don't want to exaggerate too much, I forget how many laptops it was, but it was really like somewhere between 10 to 20 laptops. They then said, oh, do you need desktops? And they dumped another like 10 desktops. And so, like, for me, needing a computer lab, it was like all of this equipment was just like, thunk. There you go. I got switches and hubs back in the day. Even 14 years ago, hubs were old. So here's the thing. If you ever are in a class and they're teaching you about hubs now, Hubs were old 14 years ago. Hub, all this kind of like amazing networking equipment, all this stuff, and they just gave to me, right? And so that's one thing to realize whenever you're dealing with people that have gotten to anywhere in the world, gotten to any kind of success, is that they in fact actually are looking to pay it forward. This is one of the reasons why I get so fundamentally pissed off. This is why, to the core of my being, I get pissed off when everybody starts bitching and whining and moaning about how bad bosses are, or how stupid authority figures are, or any kind of that stuff. Because if you've never been in that position, you don't realize how much many of these people actually want to give back. If you've become successful, if you've gotten to some place that's prominent, nobody I know actually believes they got there alone, right? They may say some stuff, they may thump their chest a lot, but every single person, if you go out there and you really have a beer, you have a cup of coffee with them, and if they're willing to be honest with you, every single one knows that they got to where they are because of the help of others. And why that's important for you is because they are in fact looking to give back. The whole idea of giving back is so strong because we don't want to insult those people that have helped us. Imagine if in your life, right, you get to a place where you are significant, people really do look up to you, you really have made it. And then to know you got there because other people helped you. Think about how shameful it would feel for you if you did not give back to society, to other people. Think about how shameful it would be if you didn't pay it forward. You're not worried about what your employees think of you. You're not worried about what the greater society would think of you. You're worried about, if you ever had to look at the people that have helped you get to where you are in the face, and they said, what have you done? What have you given back? And if you couldn't say anything, that would be one of the most shameful days in your life, right? And many of these people you do run into again. And you don't want to look at them and admit that you're some kind of horrible, greedy bastard. One of the proudest moments you can have is when you run into somebody that has helped you get to where you are, when you can start talking about how you are helping somebody get to where they will be. Think about somebody like, if I ran into somebody that I met 20 years ago and start talking about, if I just sit there and go, yeah, I made a lot of money, yeah, I have a big house, ooh, look at my RV, they'd be like, okay, well, that's nice. Think about how the different dynamic where meeting somebody that helped me to get to where I am today, and I can go, yeah, and I've really been trying to support this Baltimore Robotics Center because of the money that I donated to them. They've been able to do X, Y, or Z. Hey, remember when you gave me all those computers? Man, remember when you gave me all those fucking P2 computers? We thought those things were blazing. You know what? Honestly, I just gave them servers and Cisco equipment, and you should see their face. They were so happy to be able to get that. And that is, again, that is what successful people are thinking about. There's the whole thing of they have been given X, Y, or Z, and so giving back so that the people that have supported them will be proud. And it's something that people don't think about a lot. And that's why I get so disheartened when people are so snooty to bosses and so snooty to these people that have been successful, because they want to help you. You would be surprised. Like a lot of people, if a lot of people just shut the hell up and stop being so damn arrogant and egotistical all the time, they would realize there's a lot of people out there that would actually help them. Not because of them, not because they are somehow amazingly special, but because these other people have debts to pay. It's like for me, I say this every once in a while, and when I say it, it sounds cheesy and it sounds macho or whatever, but it really is true. I am alive today because of the generosity of others. Because when I was out there, when I was in India, when I was in Thailand, when I was doing some other things, there are very specific moments where I zigged when I should have zagged, or I zagged when I should have zigged, or hell, the spaghetti monster just did not like me that day. And I had no control over the events that happened past that. And because of other people, I'm here and I'm alive and I can talk with you. That is a very deep debt. That is a debt that will literally never be paid. And so that's one of the things, like with me, that's what I look at in life, is that I always remember those debts. And so that's why I try to do many of the things that I do, because those are debts that are so strong that they will never be paid. And therefore, it's trying to put that back out in the world. If I ever had to run into the person that patched me up again, is to be able to look at them and go, you know, you didn't waste your time. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something to think about. Again, like I say, is when you go out there and you really do things in the world, there's a lot of debts. You rack up a lot of debts, and a lot of debts that have to get paid forward, in a life that is probably too short to pay all those debts off. So something to think about both ways is, one, if people have been good to you, you better be good to people, because it's just a good idea. And then the other thing is again, to realize anybody that's gotten anywhere has a debt on their shoulders, and they want to pay it off. They really do, even if they know they won't. So that's why I give things to the Robotics Center, and that's why I do a lot of the other random things you may or may not know about. Paying it forward for debts that can never be repaid. So that's a thought for today. Again, like I say, we're trucking along. The weather sucks. The weather really sucks. But I'm gonna go off to Kempo tonight. So I only have like another week. I only have like another week of Kempo practice. So I'll get the Kempo practice in tonight. Hopefully go do Kempo next week. Everything else is pretty much on schedule. We still have to buy a couple of new things for the RV, but we've gotten rid of all that stuff. So like literally, when I gave that stuff to Ed Mullen of the Baltimore Robotics Center, he like literally left here with an entire minivan full of stuff. So all that stuff's out of the house. So we've divested about as much as we can divest. There might be a little more in there, but I mean, that's like furniture. We're not getting rid of furniture until we sell the house. But other than furniture, I'm not really sure how much more we can actually get rid of at this point. So we've done that. Now we just have to sort through, figure out all the things we're bringing, buy a couple more things, and away we go. Away we go. And I do have to say, the more I am in this place, the more I am in this travel trailer, the more I like this. I can't tell you guys enough. I can't tell you guys enough that when we bought this, when we brought this back to the house, I was really worried that once we brought it here, we would be kind of scared that it would be too small, and we'd start to think like, what the hell are we doing? But I have to say, I am excited about this. I am like balls out excited about this. This, my friends, is going to be a very, very, very cool adventure, I do have to say. So that's all there is today. March 4th, Wednesday, 2015. See you guys tomorrow.